Hello, everyone. It's Wilke Nascimento here, the Leadership Talks podcast host. And today I have Halee Whitting with us. Welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me.
How is Rochester this winter?
So cold today. It's like -17 with the wind chill.
Oh
It's
my
very cold.
goodness. Haley, I have been to Rochester, New York. Back was like actually like the second city that I visited in the United States. But I went there for pleasure. And that's a fun fact. I saw my first hockey game was in Rochester.
Oh, well, mine too, because I grew up about 3 hours east of here. And when I was looking at schools out here, they're like, you got to go to a hockey game. And that's just what you do out here.
Exactly. But besides hockey games and being the owner of Hospitality with a Flair, tell us, Haley, like how did you start and where are you going?
Yes. So I've been in hotels now for 16 years. I always kind of have to do that final count there. I started as a housekeeper. I then worked night audit, front desk, food and beverage, and then became a sales admin, worked my way up through there into a catering coordinator, a catering sales manager, a multi-property sales manager, a director of sales and marketing, a regional director of sales and marketing, and now I'm here. I have a family and I run a little travel blog on the side because I live and breathe hospitality in all parts of my life.
Excellent. So what is the name of your travel blog and when did you start?
So I started travel blogging. It's kind of been like a part-time thing back in 2017, and it's Halee with a Flair, which with this company being my pandemic baby, I just kind of kept everything with the brand, I guess.
Awesome. Fantastic. So what is the most exotic place that you've blogged about?
I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it exotic, but I'm definitely an Italy stan. I've been a few times now. I actually have a client there too now. And I find something new every time I go there and I just love it.
Oh my gosh, what part of Italy?
Oh, see here. I love some Rome. I love the Amalfi Coast. I mean, Tuscany is beautiful. I'm hoping to get down to Puglia this year. I mean, I really don't have a favorite because they're all so different and unique, and the Italians are just wonderful people.
Oh my gosh, yes. I'm a huge fan of Italians. I've been to Italy twice, and Sardinia for me is just like, oh my goodness, the place to be.
I love it. I just love all of it.
Yeah, so Haley, what is it to be a owner of a management company? Um, Women in Hospitalities is this series. So I just wanted to hear your input about this.
So, like I mentioned previously, hospitality with a flair, HWF hotels, we started after the pandemic. The pandemic saw a lot of layoffs. I had done a very similar job um, at the position that I'd been for a few years when I got laid off with about 60 other people. And I took that time because I loved the model of remote hotel sales. And I was like, all right, I want to take what I loved about it because I think it works for a lot of properties, not all, but a lot. Like, but how can I make this better? And that's kind of how this brainchild came to be. And we've been able to grow. We have a team of 13 people now and over 50 hotels across the country. But as a woman doing it, even though there's a lot of women at the property level, I would venture to say that you don't see that as much in the higher up level. So sometimes it's a challenge at times to be taken seriously at times. It's a challenge also because people are very presumptive with my age that, how experienced are you? Um, but I think like with being a woman in anything in life, there's always that little set of challenges.
Oh, for sure. And actually talking about, your style, because you worked on property, right? And for me, I think in my career back in property, I think I had one or two general managers there were women. And the rest was everybody was men. So it's also, I've never had a male director of sales, fun fact.
In my experience, I had a male like regional, but I never personally worked under a male DOS at any point in time.
Yeah, yeah. And like honestly also because working in the hotels and you have the support of the brands. I've worked for every brand that is out there in independent hotels as well. Um, in your company right now, so you handle all of the sales and marketing for the hotels, the ownership. Is that what you do?
Yeah, so we pretty much do everything that a traditional on-site director of sales and sales manager would do. So we're prospecting for new business. We are handling those business cases and RFPs. We're handling all the inquiries. We're helping make recommendations when it comes to revenue management as we see demands of business on the sales side. The only difference is that we're not in your back office every day. Our two main sources and service plans are either one is fully remote or the other is remote with quarterly site visits where the assigned global director of sales comes on site, does a sales blitz, help train the front desk. But it's, the only difference is we're not there, and you share your salesperson with just a couple of other hotels. And it's a fraction of the cost of what that is. And coming into recession talks, that's very important to a lot of our owners right now, is being able to save that money, but also get somebody that's very experienced, multi-branded certifications.
Yeah, and Halee, I seen your YouTube channel also, and I heard that you went viral on TikTok. So talk to us about this, side of social media and, as an influencer.
Yes. So, during, the pandemic, I think like a lot of people, I dabbled with TikTok and I went back and forth, like, am I too old to be here? But kind of in the same breath of, some of the e-courses that I've created as of late is I can't complain about what's going on around me if I don't take the time to educate people. I think it's very easy for hoteliers to get stuck in their very subjective thoughts on like, oh, people should automatically know this, especially, if it comes to OTAs or what, why can't you get that early check and why can't that be promised, and educating them on how that works.
So how did the viral, on TikTok came about?
So oddly enough, I was scrolling TikTok one night and I was at the Park Hyatt in New York with my daughter. We did a little girls trip. And I came across this couple that had posted a video saying that the girlfriend got bit up by bed bugs, and it was this whole thing. And, of course, a lot of the comments were like, oh my gosh, that's disgusting. And I was like, so many people, and I've talked about it on my TikTok channel earlier. So I just stitched the video. I was like, a lot of people think that, they just breed in hotels and forget that they're brought in by people. So I stitched it and I show how I check a room before I go in, because, it's never a hotel's fault necessarily if you find them. Like I said, they're brought in by people. They're very tiny. They hide really well. It's all a matter of how a hotel handles it at the end of the day. So I just did this little video explaining that. And of course, it's the video where, I didn't have a glam sesh on that goes obscenely viral. Yeah, I was just, it's that education piece. It's like, this is how I check my room. And, I've stitched videos that commented on that one of, what's your next steps if you do find one, because so many people automatically assume that the bites or reaction are always a bed bug. And I have found a lot of times I've worked for some very nice hotels that it's not a bed bug, it's a reaction to something, or it could be another kind of bug, especially during the summertime. You have lots of insects outside. So that's how that came to be. My channel is very hotel oriented. I tell some old stories, but it's mainly to educate the public on things that I think eventually would help the industry if the public has a better understanding of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Halee, this is exactly where, I think the short videos on TikTok, on LinkedIn are also helpful because, you know, you always have to also educate the public. But what if you were a guest? I think sometimes us as hoteliers, we only look from the side of us providing the service, not, from the guest side. So every time I have experiences and I share with my folks is, hey, what if that was you as a guest? Put yourself in their shoes, right?
It's very easy to be subjective when that is your everyday.
Exactly. So in terms of digital marketing, so I want to talk about that and how you are approaching as an organization. Do you handle social media for the hotels as well, or it's just a training that you provide? How do you go about it?
So we're actually now launching a full social service add-on to our service because a lot of times hotels, expect that of sales, and like while that aids in sales, it's a whole different animal. Like if you really wanted to do social media correctly, it's a full-time job. Like even myself, I fall behind on certain things just because it is such a full-time job. But we've tested out some really great beta products because one of the biggest complaints that I have with people that quote do social media for hotels is that it's so blatantly generic. Like a
Exactly.
lot of the times, what I see on social media from hotels is, this book here, book now, book here, book now, Christmas special, Veterans Day, book here, book now. Like it's very, very generic, and you're constantly selling. Now, it's like a Hampton Inn going to have 300,000, Instagram followers. No, the online presence is important for consistency. But I think a lot of hotels, especially your smaller focus service branded hotels, get bought into that because their regionals for the brand are talking about, oh, is your Facebook page set up? That's where you can engage with guests. And there's just not enough time in the day. So we have started crafting digital content calendars, shells, and whatnot that are specifically geared towards hotels and are actually storytelling. Like some of the posts that we've done for one of the hotels that we just opened is, a day in the life of the GM, like all the staff votes on their favorite amenity. A little segment with somebody from the CVB, highlighting great local partners and local businesses. Like it has to be this combination. Then of course throwing in a promo for rates, like, but it has to be mixed and you can't be selling at somebody all the time. And we've really noticed a big gap and need for that because a lot of hotels are wasting money spending hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for very generic content that's being copy and pasted to other properties.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that part of the storytelling because, people, they're going to interact with, folks and individuals at your hotel. So, knowing that one thing that I was obsessed about when I worked, the front desk was, please make sure you mention my name in every review possible.
100%. Like one of the things that we do with our hotels, like especially hotels that get a lot of sports teams, is we make it a contest with those properties. We have them like, hey, take a picture and tag us either on Facebook or Instagram, post on our Facebook or tag us on Instagram with this hashtag and this handle. And at the end of the weekend, we will give giveaway and we ask them like take a picture with your favorite amenity or staff member.
That is awesome.
And that's really great, especially it helps that SEO engagement. It helps push you up a little bit on those searches. And then when somebody's, looking on Facebook to check in or looking on Instagram to see what that is, seeing all this positive content, it's priceless.
It's priceless and it's smooth, I remember when I was on property, I had this beautiful independent hotel in DC downtown. So I was always like, oh my gosh, how can I make this engagement with like local universities, local colleges, or, make sure that those folks that were Googling, right, like embassy in DC, for example, you know, and then I came back to my consultant that was working on our website. I said, I need to have a landing page just regarding embassies. So I
Oh,
was just so obsessed, you know, with having these connections because, you know, people, what is the highest, the toppest phrases or words that people are searching when they are looking to hotels in some particular areas. So all of these connections, right? It's organically develops.
oh
So
yes, especially with Instagram, like that hotel we just opened, some of the posts were highlighting like there's a big Division 1 university next to it. Big, big, big. And when you're using those hashtags, using the right hashtags, first off, when I see people not using them, it just makes me sad. But using the right hashtags and not just basic hashtag travel, hashtag hotel, like really niche down, university specific hashtags. Um, you're going to show in that feed when somebody's, searching hashtag will use Syracuse University and all the hashtags that go along with that. Seeing a hotel that's in there, it's like, oh, I'm going to a game. You're right there. You appear in that hashtag search.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it's free. It's free.
Oh my gosh, I can't, you know, I think we should have a session just on
Oh, I
digital
could get on a
marketing.
platform, especially, hotels, especially some of the boutique ones that we work with that have a very niched wedding experience. I had one time that was out in Colorado, and I just made them a Pinterest page and kind of made like a side blog with like wedding tips and stuff like that and pictures because they get a lot of destination weddings in the mountains. I mean, their website traffic blew up, and Pinterest is a completely free marketing tool. It's not for all hotels, but if you're in a very niche style market or beachy kind of place, Pinterest is very underutilized.
Yeah, and also I think just to be honest too, you know, LinkedIn too, right? Like every hotel, everybody can create a LinkedIn page and show people, right? Like connect with the companies that they are interested in targeting, for example. So I think, or even, you know, for our when I, again, you know, back when I was on property, I would, oh my gosh, I would post every day and, you know, oh, I'm a MOD, I'm on breakfast, I have my phone, I'm taking pictures with everyone, you know, my colleagues, staff, and you know, it was just like people need to see the energy that you bring and how fun it is and how comfortable your hotel is, you know, and welcoming.
And I think there's this great kind of switch, whether you like TikTok or not. There's this bigger push for authenticity. It doesn't always have to be this perfectly curated piece. People want to see some of the funny, and that's honestly what I learned on my TikTok journey and somehow blowing up over 100,000 followers is that people, sometimes want the good, look good with the bad. They want something to be authentic because not everybody is a size 2 blonde muscular influencer. Want to
Exactly.
see themselves there too.
Exactly. And it actually, you know, especially for us women too, right? Like there is always, oh my gosh, you know, how does my hair look today? You know, I have this fun conversation, you
Yes.
know, with people. It's like, I don't care how my hair looks, how, you know, if I have makeup or not, you know, if I had an idea and I feel like talking about my sales conversation today earlier with Halee and you know, talking about our discussion on digital marketing, I just get my phone and I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this right now, you know, because I don't have time for editing, you know, I don't have time to allow my idea of, you know, speaking about that particular subject that I experienced, you know, on that particular day.
Absolutely.
It's ideas, they come and you have to run with it, you know. And even I love, you know, when people say, oh, you know, these short videos don't share the ideas, don't really mean anything. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm telling you what is the idea about the podcast that I wanted to share, which is women in hospitality. If I just do a 30 seconds on that, I would love for you to click on the link and actually listen to the podcast. It's a teaser, it
That's what it is. It's a teaser and it has to
doesn't
be a
need to
teaser.
be like that entire podcast of 30 minutes,
Well, I
But
mean, I love the idea of what you're doing here. My business as of right now, aside from my husband who does our IT, is all women, and I'm very humbled and honored to say that, a third of my team are also women of color. My right hand, my VP, is a woman of color, and the conversations that we've had, not just from the women standpoint, but also when you add color into it, is, we had this roundtable one time talking about different ways that we were held to different standards. Like we were on property, some of my team was told that their braids that were done up in a bun was not professional hair, or wearing their hair natural is not professional hair, or not wearing the appropriate pantyhose with a skirt and boot combo or minimal skin showing was inappropriate. It's a completely different standard. Same with the whole makeup conversation too.
wow, yeah, to be honest, I think because I'm from Brazil, and I've been in the States for, almost 20 years now. I think those comments for me, it already comes from one ear and ends in the other, like I can't live my life worried about what people are thinking or saying. It's just I like I said earlier, I just run with it, and especially being a woman Latina, right? There's always also a certain look. Oh, wow, you're from Brazil. The first thing people say, oh, carnival. I was like, well, yeah, let's get to the business point. You have questions about the budget, you have questions about the forecast, this is what I know. So it's
It,
time to get with the program and circle back and get into the business conversation.
it is. And I think that's a challenge. I think it's getting better, but that's a big challenge that my team and I notice as well. It's also even, on LinkedIn, you have professional corporate America men using LinkedIn like a dating platform.
Oh, don't even get me started on that.
um it's kind of odd, and you kind of always got to be on guard a little bit, but my goal and philosophy with it is, women have a lot to offer, and at times have been, passed over and denied things, and our time to shine.
Absolutely. And I appreciate you so much, Halee, coming to talk to me today here at the Leadership Talks podcast. We need to do another round on just digital marketing.
Oh, we could
I
100%.
I wanted to, leave it open for you if you wanted to, leave your last thoughts about women in leadership for the future females, that are listening and thinking about joining the hospitality industry.
Yes, I'd have to say my final thoughts. There's kind of twofold to this. One is, you cannot expect people to just recognize your efforts and automatically assume for you. You have to push yourself into those opportunities. You have to create opportunities for yourself. One of the people that work with me right now, at first she wasn't a fitter as experienced, but she kind of came back around with the way that she, responded was very gracious. She was like, you know what, I'm a hustler. I do this. We ended up creating a role for her
That's
so that she could
amazing.
learn. So you have to advocate for yourself. And I think the other important piece is, as much as we talk, women in hospitality, women pushing up women, I've been very blessed to also have some great men in my life that are very pro woman focused. And I think that piece is so important. One of my dearest friends, he, is an owner in his own management company with a couple others. And, I wouldn't have had some of the experiences that I had without his push on things. He's one of my biggest cheerleaders. I'm very, very thankful for him as well, because it helps.
What's his name?
His name is Patrick Hanso, Dominion Hospitality Group. He's amazing and he's wonderful, really great at what he does. But he's one of our biggest cheerleaders.
Wow, and I think that's what we are all about. We have to empower ourselves, and I truly appreciate again one more time, Halee, you coming here and talking to me in our Leadership Talks podcast. And I'll see you next time.
Sounds great. See you next time. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure.